Y'all, I absolutely love my little moo with the pocket on it. Like, it's perfect, so I don't have to hold it. Because I was really trying to figure out how I was going to do this video with no hands. So, yeah, I got it. How y'all feeling about the hair today? Got some new jewelry that I made in the shop. All right. I love one thing about me, I love me some tiger's eye and some citrine. Like, it's just such a nice combination. I like those earthy tones. And y'all don't judge me. I got a gold hand and a silver hand. Like, because it's hard for me to pick. And why pick when you could just do both? I'm still thinking about what I want to dye my little skunk stripe here for the fall. I was thinking like a nice orangey reddish color, something like that, something for the fall. But I also like my bold colors. Like I was thinking like a nice deep purple, like deep enough for it to not be super noticeable, but noticeable enough in the sun. Does that make sense? Okay. Or what about a nice like electric green, but not too bright though? Like, see, this is why I haven't done anything because I'm indecisive. What's good? What's good in the YouTube hood? It's your girl, Luna Nova, and I'm back with another one. Have you ever felt like you weren't alone in a room, even when you knew for a fact that nobody else was there? Tonight's compilation will leave you questioning every bump in the night, every shadow in the corner, and every whisper that chills your spine. Welcome back to the Mystic Muse. It's your girl Luna, and of course, we're going to get into some more spooky shenanigans today. Now, I like this compilation right here because a lot of these stories are pretty recent. Like the posters have posted them in the last month or so. So these are some fresh stories that haven't been circulating around just yet. One thing I love more than a spooky cautionary tale are real encounters, like real life encounters. That's the reason why I love doing these compilations, because this is real deal Holyfield folklore in the flesh. So turn on the lights, get comfortable, and go ahead and grab you some protection items from yours truly. And let's go ahead and get into this creepy compilation, only if you dare.
Story time. Growing up in the 90s, I had a great aunt named Martha, and she was a wonderful woman. And when I tell you she was one with nature, this woman had up teen wild animals in her yard. Aunt Martha had always taken care of these animals. Didn't even have to have food, they would just come to her. So one day, I'm hanging out with her and we're shelling butter beans on the back porch when all of a sudden, one of the most beautiful animals I had ever seen walked up into her backyard. White deer. I had never seen an albino or snow white deer ever before. This deer was absolutely majestic. He had the biggest set of horns we ever saw, big full mane, bright blue eyes, and a big bushy tail. He was gorgeous. So while me and Aunt Martha's jaws are dropped from looking at this beautiful creature, the neighbor walks over and says, "Oh my God, what is that? Let me go get my pew pew. I have to get it." And Aunt Martha said, "Don't you dare." He said, "Why? It's just gonna eat, poop, and die at some point anyways." She said, "Leave it alone. This is their home and their safe place." I said, "Matthew, I've warned you before about this. If you mess with nature here on this property, you know what's going to happen." He said, "Oh, I don't believe your old ghost stories. That don't scare me." She said, "Why won't you just leave it alone? It's just trying to live its life." He said, "Because it's so beautiful, rare, and unique. I think it would look good over my fireplace." Aunt Martha turned and said, "Well, maybe you would look good over my fireplace." So he walks away, and we can tell he's fuming, and she looks at me and says, "He'll be back." It seemed like something more was going on. I just didn't know what it was. I said, "What do you mean? Why would he come back?" She said, "Because he's already seen it. He's not going to be able to let go of this now. He's going to try to unalive that beautiful deer. But we can't let that happen." So we took a bag of corn way out in the woods and lured them away from the backyard. Where we took the deer corn was on her property on the backside, so this neighbor had no business being over there. Even though we put out that corn, the animals still came back. They always came back. They loved her. We see that beautiful white deer walk up in the backyard again. So the next morning, we're back on the porch shelling more butter beans when the neighbor walks over again and says, "Hey, have y'all seen that deer again?" Martha said, "No, we haven't seen nothing today." And Martha said, "Didn't I warn you before about this and you didn't learn your lesson?" I said, "I'm telling you, this is not the kind of land that you want to hurt these animals. It will come back on you." I said, "Aunt Martha, tell me, why did you say you didn't learn your lesson? What happened before?" She said, "Back when Matthew and his wife first moved here, they were pulling up in their driveway and Matthew saw this big rabbit hopping across the road. So Matthew gets back in the car, backs out the driveway, floors the gas, and hits the rabbit on purpose. Yeah, he did it just to unalive it. They didn't eat it. They didn't keep the skin. We got nothing out of hurting this rabbit. Well, you can say it's connected or not. I don't know. But 2 weeks later, Matthew himself got hit by a car in the same damn spot. On his day off, Matthew went outside with his coffee to check the mail, and when he walked back up the driveway, his wife backed out of the yard. She was late for work, so she stomped the gas, and she hit Matthew. It didn't unalive him, but he did break his leg. When Matthew got out of the hospital, his wife was rolling him into the house. Aunt Martha walked up and said, Matthew, I warned you, if you hurt the animals here, they will hurt you back. Matthew said, Martha, it was an accident. She didn't see me out there. It's ridiculous. Go home. So Martha pulled Matthew's wife over to the side and said, look, I'm telling you, if he doesn't stop hurting these animals, this is only going to get worse. Now fast forward to where I'm spending the night with Aunt Martha, and we're sitting on the porch. It's like 6 o'clock in the evening, and we see that beautiful white deer walk up in the backyard again. It's dark, but we can tell it's him because it's a solid white deer. Anyone can spot it. Well, I'm sleeping on the couch, and around 4 a.m., we hear a loud bam, like gunfire. So Martha goes flying out the front door in her housecoat, yelling, what's going on out here? And then we see Matthew come walking down the street with his rifle. Martha screams out, you didn't! Please tell me you didn't hurt that beautiful deer. And Matthew said, I couldn't get to it, but I got to another one. He had unalived a baby fawn, a little fawn that was just walking around eating with its mother. He said, that's not all. I got the mama too. We're fixing to go pull her out the woods. She said, you killed the mother? And Aunt Martha lost it. How many times have I warned you? This place is not like other places. You can't mess with the animals here. Treat the land with respect. He said, get your crazy ass out of my face and go the fuck home. Martha said, well, the same way you drug them deers out the woods is the same way they're going to drag your body out those woods. Watch and see. He said, what the hell is that supposed to mean? She said, you'll see. You just sealed your own fate. Y'all prepare yourselves because what happened that winter blew my mind. I was staying with Aunt Martha and we were putting up the Christmas tree when we heard a bunch of ambulances coming down the road. The neighbors we had were all standing out in the road like, what is going on? What happened? But nobody knew. So we walked down the road to see what's going on, and that's where we see 3 men dragging Matthew by his feet out the woods, and he's pouring blood. It turned out early that morning, Matthew had taken his 8-year-old son hunting for the first time. This child had never been before, had never handled a weapon, and didn't know what he was doing. It was a recipe for disaster. The child's walking in the woods behind his daddy. He trips and stumbles over a root, drops the weapon. It goes off, hits Matthew in the back. Matthew looked like a damn strainer. The bullets had spread out from his shoulders down to his waist. Because they had walked so far up in the woods, it took the child damn near 45 minutes to run back home and call 911. It took first responders over 5 hours to find Matthew because they were so deep in the woods. And guess where they found Matthew's body? He was sitting up against a tree beside them old stones where Aunt Martha had taken me before. The little boy told police that was not where the accident happened. He says they were down at the creek. We have no idea how Matthew got from the creek to the stones. You're talking about a damn near hour's walk. How would he have gotten that far with all those injuries? What else is strange? When they did his autopsy, they found these big gashes. It looked like an animal with antlers had been ramming him. There were cuts, bruises, and abrasions, but especially gashes all over his back, shoulders, and the back of his head. It looked like someone had taken a set of deer antlers and just jabbed him repeatedly in his back. It was really sad because Matthew's son, he was just 8 years old. He didn't have any safety, didn't know what he was doing. Matthew had no business giving that child a weapon. And what's so crazy, when this little boy turned 13, he told his new stepdaddy that the day his father died, he saw a white deer before he tripped over the root. And when that little boy said that and it got around the neighborhood, me and Aunt Martha were like, full circle. You cannot tell me that white deer didn't know what the hell he was doing. I know he did. He got Matthew's ass. What really gave me chills was the fact that what Aunt Martha said came true. When she told Matthew, they're going to drag you out of these woods the same way you're dragging these animals out, pouring blood. And that was what happened. My Aunt Martha was one with nature. She's passed on now, but when I tell you, I go outside sometimes, and when I see deer, squirrels, and rabbits, I swear I can feel her. I truly believe she's been reincarnated as an animal, and she's living her best life. And anyone who lives in that part of North Carolina, or my family that knows about this, don't say anything in the comments about where this happened, because we don't want people going down there.
Giving you guys a tour of the abandoned hospital I live.
So this was something that I learned about when I was living in London for a while. I learned about it in the creepiest way possible. But in the UK, they have these things called property guardians, right? It's like a program for people who are low income. I guess you don't always have to be low income, but usually they were, where you would become the guardian of a giant abandoned property. It doesn't always have to be giant. It could be like an office building, a old school, an old hospital. In the case of the guy that I was seeing, he was staying in a former Afro-Caribbean funeral home with the whole works, right? Like there's funeral parlors, there's like the back part, which is like, I don't even know if it's considered a morgue, but like where they would embalm the bodies. They had sort of this large walk-in fridge thing, the tables. His bedroom was set up in the former office of the funeral director. He was like, I could pick any room, but that one was like the least creepy. I'm obviously by the way, this is the first date. He's telling me all this, right? I start asking questions. I'm like, what's going on? That sounds fucking creepy. He's like, I don't want to tell you because I think you're going to think I'm insane. Let's hang out a couple more times and then I will let you know what's going on. If ever a way to get me to hang out with you another time, that's it. Finally, probably like 4th, 5th date, I'm always bugging him, being like, tell me. And he's like, no. 4th or 5th date, he gets super drunk and goes, I regularly wake up to the sound of music emanating throughout the entire place, except every time I go to try to figure out where it's coming from, I open my bedroom door and it stops. I'm going, huh? And he's like, even worse is that I will very often latch like the fridge door closed and wake up in the morning to it being open. He's like, sleep over one night, and I'm telling you, there's a good chance that one of those things will happen. I'm going, this guy is making up these stories, so I'm gonna sleep over, like, oh my God, like, this guy is down bad. You're also not allowed to have people at those properties, right? You're guarding this like giant property, so you're not supposed to have guests. That's why people don't have parties. We ended up getting really fucked up at a warehouse that he lived near. He's like, just come sleep in mine, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Against my better judgment, I go. He shows me around the place. It's honestly not even that creepy, right? The walls are painted yellow. There's like illustrations. It doesn't read to me as like super haunted. I pass out. I end up waking up at like 5:36. The sun is starting to come up. He is passed out next to me. I'm thinking in my head, I need to go back to sleep because if I start hearing this music, I am out of there. I'll die, simply. As soon as that thought comes into my mind, I swear to you, I start hearing this music. Ever so softly, it's like Caribbean music. I'm thinking in my head, wow, that Molly must be hitting hard because there's no way that this is happening. I nudge him awake. He goes, you hear it? And I was like, are you insane? That's gotta be like a car passing by. He's like, it's not a car. I don't know where it's coming from. Open the bedroom door, it'll stop. I go over, I open the bedroom door, music stops. He's like, turn the corner, see if the fridge door is open. I turn the corner. I saw him close the fridge door when he gave me the tour, right? I go around the corner, it's open. I go, I am leaving now, I will never come back here. Dated him for a couple more months, ended up breaking up a little while after. Probably 2 years later, I'm broke. I need to like get a place to live for super cheap. I end up calling this property guardianship because at that time I'd also heard about people staying in apartment buildings, like normal places. End up getting in contact with this girl. She's like, do you want to go see this office building today? I'm like, I don't know. I go there, it's super creepy. I'm not into it. We're talking outside. She's like, how did you hear about us? I tell her the story about the guy. She goes, you have no idea how often that happens to us. We have such a high turnover rate of property guardians because people will leave because they think that they're seeing things, they think that they're hearing stuff. She says that she doesn't know whether or not this stuff is actually happening or it's just because they're staying in these places by themselves and they're just sort of like getting really freaked out. But she's like, that happens at least every 2 or 3 out of 10 places. Also, the girl whose video I stitched is randomly a producer of Squid Game's The Challenge.
In the summer that I turned 11 years old, I'll never forget, and you'll never believe why. So boom, let me set the scene for y'all. I am in Jackson, Michigan. I'm from Michigan, but I'm in Jackson, Michigan. This is specifically a small town in Michigan, very country, very small, population small. And my dad lived there. That's where a lot of my family is from. And every summer, I used to go to Jackson and spend a summer with my dad. Every summer or twice a summer, we took a trip with me and my cousins to Cedar Point. This was yearly. It was like clockwork. So this particular year, I'm probably about, I'm going to say like 11, 12. And normal, we go to Cedar Point. We leave early in the morning. We come back late at night or super early in the morning, 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. We'll make it home. All right, cool. So this is nothing new for me. At this point, my dad, he has a woman. He has a girlfriend. She has kids and her uncle as well. But nobody was there. Nobody was home. They was in Detroit in the city. We was in Jackson because her family was from Detroit. All right, y'all following me? Boom. So getting in at 1 o'clock in the morning, my dad does what any 45, 50-year-old man at the time would do. He takes his ass to sleep. It's a 2-story. Now let me put the image in y'all head. My dad lives in a house. However, it's a multi-family house. One huge ass, creepy ass house. However, is divided into like 3 different families. So we got a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Upstairs, we got half of the basement because we share the other half of the basement with the other family. But like when we go in our kitchen and open up the door in the kitchen to the basement, I can see my neighbor door to their house. But it's their kitchen door as well to lead to the basement because we share. And then it was another apartment on the outside that was just upstairs. So you had to walk up the stairs and they was like above us type shit. All right. I don't know how it was made, but I just know 3 family house. 3-family house, 3 different families, one huge ass house. Matter of fact, I gotta try to find a house so I can show y'all. One moment. This shit is giving me chills. So y'all know me. I had to go and hunt for it. I couldn't remember. I had to go. I remember there was a kid store right around the corner. So this is the house. You feel me? Remember I said it's some stairs on the side for another family. This is the opposite side. That's family too. And you see right there, that front, is where we live. This is our door. So boom. This is like the room that when you walked in, this is the room that the story took place. Remember I told y'all the basement had that door in the basement that entered the basement from the kitchen? That's that door right there. And this was the stairs to the apartment. And that's what's my dad room. No, I did a lot of work to find that shit for y'all. But cool, that's the house. You got the image in your head. Old creepy looking house in the inside wood. Just look creepy. But yeah. So alright, boom. Mind y'all. 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. My dad goes to sleep. It's just me and him in this big ass house. Now, I'm sitting in the front room, the room with all the windows. We had couches, a TV, and the TV is like kitty corner on that side where all the windows, but like in the corner. So I'm on the couch on the opposite side of the room, and I'm watching SpongeBob. I remember vividly, like it was yesterday. I'm watching SpongeBob. I'm watching the F-is. I'm watching that episode. I remember vividly. And I know I'm sleepy because I fell asleep in the car because my daddy had to bring me and carry me in the house. So I'm waking up out of my sleep because I'm eating snacks and watching SpongeBob at 1 o'clock in the morning. And it just gets like super quiet. And I can like hear my thoughts and it just get quiet. Like I'm watching the TV, but like it seems like everything is heightened in the whole fucking room just gets super quiet. And I'm thinking I'm sleepy. In my head I'm always thinking I'm sleepy. I'm never in this house by myself. Never. It's always somebody there. I'm only there for the summertime. She has kids. Her kids are usually there. So cool. All right, cool. I see a faint, nothing like dark, almost like translucent, walk right past me. I'm thinking, not thinking. I'm really thinking like, okay, Raven, you tripping. You watching TV. You sleepy. Y'all just got off the road. All right, cool. I continue to watch it. Now I feel it. I feel an energy. Like, you know how you feel like when somebody in a room with you or somebody staring at you and you kind of look like, okay, what the fuck? Like, and nobody there, and nobody looking, or they looked away. That's the feeling that I'm getting. I'm getting scared at this point. Remember, I'm a 12-year-old child. All right, cool. I've always been an intentional person. Even as a kid, as an adult, I always have been intentional with shit. So I'm intentionally not looking over, but I feel like something is near me. I feel like something is watching me. The house is pitch black. Y'all see how big this fucking house is? I had no business being in that house by myself downstairs, woke by myself in that pitch black ass house. Okay, so now I'm getting scared. All right, cool. I don't want to look back because in the room behind me is another room. Then the kitchen is pitch black. I don't want to look in there. I'm not trying to see nothing. But all I know is I feel something looking at me. So my 12-year-old self did what any 12-year-old would do. I did what any 12-year-old would do. I turned my head slowly. Because now I done gained enough courage. I'm too scared to get up and just run. And I'm too scared to just look. I gained the courage and I said, I'm about to clock it. What the fuck is going on? And I turned slowly. I'm scared. I remember the feeling. I feel it. Like, y'all don't know, like, I was getting chills looking at these pictures, gathering and finding this fucking house. I looked slowly to my left. I turned my head. And I see a white old lady in all white, snow white hair. Just old, little. Just sitting there watching TV with me. Watching the fucking TV, y'all. Cause now I've never like since I was young, I've never told anybody this, and it's like bringing feelings back. I hope Me telling y'all this don't trigger nothing and make me start thinking about this shit all the time because I'm going to be scared. Nothing. Said nothing. Did nothing. I turned around, looked at the TV. Raven, you're tripping. You're tripping. I looked one more time, y'all. I just knew. I knew my eyes was not seeing what the fuck. All right, Raven, you tripping. You all know how kids, you see something, you look back, it ain't there. I'm going to look again. I didn't turn my head this time, y'all. I'm just looking out the corner of my eyes the second time. Little bit. This lady is still there, and her head turned a little bit as she was about to look at me. I hopped up and ran up these fucking stairs so fucking quick. Usain Bolt, Kenyans. I swear to God, I could have fucking ran a marathon. How fucking scared I was. Them stairs. You remember? I took a picture of the stairs for reference. I got to the top of them stairs, pitch black, zooted up them bitches. That little landing right there, I remember I almost fell fucking back. I grabbed myself from the rail and bust in my daddy door. He like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, it's a ghost down there. He started laughing at me. Next thing, I woke up the next morning. And from that day, you could never leave me in that house by myself. I remember one time, me and my stepbrother was there, and it was just me and him there, and he left to go to his friend's house. I'm like, please don't leave me here by myself. And they joked about that for a minute, but to this very day, I don't fuck around. And it's crazy because somebody else that used to live in that house that's in Jackson as well, they said that an old lady passed in that house. And they used to live there, and they used to hear stuff too. Like, yeah, I didn't fuck around. Like, I could tell you a joke, never a lie. Like, me telling y'all this is making me nervous and scared all over again. But yeah, it's spooky season. It was the right time for it. I said, somebody else got to hear this. TikTok is the place for people gonna believe me there. People gonna believe me there. They gonna believe you, girl.
This is my story of the most haunted house in America and how it single-handedly ruined my birthday party and my social life. Brought to you from the same twisted studio that produced My Life with Lavinia Murdoff and me, this is the Peyton Randolph House.
This has been called the most haunted house in America.
Welcome. Yo, here's your disclaimer, because this one right here might be a little unsettling for some of y'all.
My birthday is October 25th. It was supposed to be October 31st, but they induced me early. So for whatever reason, it induced in me this weird obsession with spooky birthday parties. But this particular birthday party is what caused Colonial Williamsburg to change the trajectory of all of their ghost tours moving forward. So if you do visit and go on one and it's not that spooky, this is why. Near the Peyton Randolph house, there's this huge old oak tree. When we were younger, we all used to climb it and kiss boys and stuff. But one year, one of my friends and I were sitting up there, and there was this boy dressed like he was from Colonial Williamsburg. But like, this wasn't that weird because there's tons, like thousands of reenactors. So no questions asked, chatted with the kid, and then he just kind of like disappeared. Like, poof, gone. Like, we were kind of like, where'd that kid go? Like, he was kind of cute, you know, whatever. So fall was coming up, which in turn meant so was my birthday, and came time for me to plan my party. And so I was like, yo, how cool would it be if we did one of those Colonial Williamsburg ghost tours and everybody came and we got super spooked and then, I don't know, like eat pizza after or something. My friends and family were like, well, Nicole, you know, other people might not like that. And I was like, well, I do. It's my birthday. Back then on the ghost tours, you didn't go inside any of these homes. That's because like a lot of them people are living in, but not the Peyton Randolph house. But before you go inside, the tour guide gives you a little disclaimer. Something along the lines of like, if you're touched and no one's there, don't freak out. Stay close to the group. If you hear things, that's what you're paying for, so lock in, people. My friends are already kind of looking around like, I don't know about this, boss. Like, but I'm like, everybody in. We go in the main room and the history begins. Peyton Randolph was some prominent figure, president, Congress, I don't know, blah, 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 back in like the 1600s. And considering the time frame, There was, I think, like 20 to 30 enslaved people also living in this house with Peyton Randolph and his family. Legend has it that these enslaved people were super privy to the fact that this newly constructed house had been built on top of a Native American grave site. So they were already kind of like, bad vibes here, Peyton. Maybe we could just pick up shop, go somewhere else. He's like, nah, we're good. And then the house gets riddled with smallpox, kind of kickstarting the really bad vibes of Peyton and his family. As if there weren't already bad vibes, but like the eternal bad vibes. Peyton has this brother, right? His name's John. John's like, hey, there's this war coming up and they're saying it's gonna be like revolutionary or something. Who we taking? Because like, I think I'm gonna take Britain. And Peyton's like, bro, what? The whole point of this war is so that we can like have our own gig going on here and you're gonna take Britain? And John's like, yeah, I had a feeling you'd say that, so I'm gonna go back. So John dips. And Peyton's left in Williamsburg kind of like, yo, this sucks, dude, because this made my family look really bad. So homie's like, I gotta save face around here. And he decides to do his big one and turn the crib into a war hospital for the soldiers. The tour guide continues, she's like, yeah, floors soaked in blood. You could literally see the traces of the gurneys being pushed down the hallways, bodies everywhere. My friends and I are standing there looking at this lady kind of like, The family kicks the can. The wife and the kids and everybody's just one after the other. See ya. So through generations, the house gets passed down to somebody with the last name Peachy. Just Peachy, moving into the Peyton Randolph house. I guess that's where real terror begins. The Peachy situation is where things get a little muddy. You know, the history gets burnt away, which like I get. It's easy to lose important historical documents. Like NASA lost all the instructions on how to get to the moon. It could happen to any of us. But this Peachy family moves in and they are just cursed. I'm talking like every single person in this family gets yapped. But where it particularly pertains to me is the little boy that died by way of falling out of the tree out front. So my friend, who immediately whips her head at me and is like, please don't say anything, don't even bring it up, don't ask what his name is, please don't. What do? Excuse me, miss, are you talking about that tree out front that we all hang out in all the time, that I literally met a boy in the other day that was dressed like he was in colonial clothes and didn't have a home and kind of just disappeared in front of our eyes and we couldn't find him ever again? Tour guide stops in her tracks, looks me dead in the eyes and goes, you've seen him too? I'm like, I'd say we maybe lightly have seen him, but like this was like totally a kid. This wasn't a ghost, it was a kid. And the tour guide's like, well, good news. We have a picture of him upstairs. So we go upstairs, look at the picture on the wall. It's the freaking kid. But I'm trying to brush it off. I'm like, that's not him. That's definitely not him. I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, yo, is that the kid? She's like, that's totally the kid. I'm out. You had to tell them. You had to freak everyone out. You made this about you. We're all out. So now everybody's out front of the Peyton Randolph house calling their moms, and I'm still inside looking at this painting like, because like, I don't see ghosts. I don't think. So I'm like, all right, if we could keep this reeled in, I'm not gonna freak anybody else out. We're so close to the pizza part, and I still got 5 friends to my names. But no, not on my mom's watch. If my kid's gonna see something, I'm gonna see something too. So tour guide's like, you asked for it, lady. You're gonna see that kid if you really want, but we're gonna have to go outside to do it. I'm like, my mom's not climbing this tree. But the tour guide's like, nope, this is what usually happens. We tell everyone to take a picture of the house, and generally speaking, there will be an apparition in one of these windows. But I'm like, no. No. My mom's like, shut up, I'm paying for this tour. So we go outside. I'm like, all right. This is gonna be about the end of my social life at 12 years old. And she starts snapping away. Looks down at the camera and is like, oh my God. I look at my mother and I'm like, show me a home. She's like, y'all, kid in the window, because lo and behold, the boy who fell out of the tree and died had a sister who fell out of a window and died. And that was her in the picture. So everybody ate. Spiritually, nobody ate pizza except for my mom's best friend's son. His mother forced him to stay. They felt bad. Everybody left. Honestly, I kind of felt like I was a big dog. I'm like, oh yeah, you guys can't handle the haunt, baby, but I still think about that house often. I'm no ghosty person that sees them and talks to them, but like, it is kind of weird. I don't know if it has anything to do with my birthday or my incredible imagination. But if you don't believe the things I just told you in this video, go book a tour and find out for yourself. Good night.
Let's talk about LA North Hollywood haunted apartments / specifically NoHo 14 and Get Ready With Me.
Gina, I'm going to get ready with you, honey. When I tell you that I almost fell out of my seat, I was literally hanging by my culo, okay? Let's talk about the NoHo 14 apartments. For some reason, of course, let's call it maybe synchronicities, but I was talking to a few of my friends that used to live in NoHo 14, like 2 days ago. Okay, let me set the stage for some of you that may or may not know me, and my name is Tammy. I go by Haunted LA Girl, and I talk about all the strange, the weird, and the damn right creepy in and around Los Angeles. I try to stitch this video with Gina, so I'm gonna tag her here. For some reason, my app has been glitching, and her video just always freezes when I try to use the stitch option. So here we go. Back in 2017, 2018, I had a couple of friends that lived in that building. Now, where this building is located is in the Arts District of North Hollywood, California, which is in the San Fernando Valley, and it's adjacent to Valley Village, where I used to live for 10 years. And that area is just a hot pocket of chaos. Hot pockets. But these friends of mine that lived there barely lived there for a year because of the stuff that would happen inside and even outside of their building, mainly due to the living, but whatever was inside their apartment was really weird. So it started out with knocking on their door at weird hours of the morning, like 2:30, even sometimes at 4:30 in the morning. It would happen every other week, and then it kind of slowly progressed to the point where they ended up getting a Ring doorbell camera. But every time they would go and watch the sequence of the timestamp of when these knocks would happen, the camera would glitch or freeze, and or they would see no one in front of the camera. They would still hear the knock, but no one would be in front of it. So they would think, oh, maybe they saw the camera and they ducked and knocked and ditched. But then it started to fuck with their sleep. So one of my friends said that he would have the craziest, sometimes violent and weird dreams. Like he would wake up in sweats because of how weird and crazy they were. And fortunately, he was able to forget a lot of them, but he just knew how like outlandish and weird they were. But their stories, I want to say 2 out of the 3 roommates that lived there had parallel experiences. Like they would wake up as though something woke them up in the middle of the night, and they're deep sleepers too. They would sit up and then they would notice what looked like a person standing at the foot of their bed, and they would think, oh, it's probably one of my roommates. Maybe he needed help or needed something. They turn on the light, no one would be there. They would keep these stories to themselves until one morning over breakfast, they just like threw it all out on the table. And it was one of those things where, bro, you experienced that too? Bro, I thought that was you sitting in the foot of my bed. Freaking weirdo, I wouldn't do that. I know my thoughts too. And then I turned on the light and you weren't there. Bro. And they just couldn't just deal with all that weird stuff happening. Plus, you have to understand that that area in and around NoHo is pretty chaotic. Even way back in the day, it was really crazy, and it still kind of surfaces every now and then, actually quite often, with a lot of like gang-related activity and shootings and even drugs around that area. But a lot of people believe that NoHo 14 apartments is cursed, and a lot of people have even said that it's haunted. Now, Gina in her video, which you need to go and just click on this link and just like watch her video, but she mentions her favorite YouTuber, I think is Daisy Marquez, who lived in those apartments. She made a series about her experiences there. Then she went further in taking a deeper dive on the deaths of the property. Now, it's not to say that 100% of the time, you know, death doesn't make a ghost, but that area just has a lot of crazy energy, and that building may be a magnet to it. But here's a couple of examples of what happened in and around that building. So first off, in 2003, there was a horrible, I want to say, hangar plane accident that occurred in that building. A plane had crashed into those apartments, killing 2 people on board, and I believe 2 people in an apartment, or pedestrians that were on ground. It was really intense that a lot of people were even injured that were just walking around the building and they were just hit by debris. But then we start to see a lot of people going in and just unaliving themselves in this building. And a lot of them, I'm just gonna say this, worked in the industry. And that is something that I noticed in LA, it attracts a lot of creatives, but it also attracts a lot of broken people that work in this industry. And this industry can really make or break you. And unfortunately, one of those stars were Lee Thompson, who was found dead in NoHo 14 in 2013 following the death of a entertainment industry exec as well in 2014. But like I said, this place is just fully chaotic. There's a lot of crazy activity. I know that the owner of the NoHo 14 apartments was sued because of the alleged gang activity that was happening. I mean, you could read that there were 9 related gang shootings in the past 15 months during that year of 2022. And I remember all this chaos going around because I live like literally half a mile, and I would always hear like sirens and ambulances and fire trucks. I believe that one of those shootings even involved the death of a 14-year-old girl, I think near or inside that building. And if memory serves me correct, I believe that there was a freak accident of a gentleman that drove his car off one of the platforms of the parking structure near NoHo 14 or connected to NoHo 14 as well. Like I said, there's so many stories connected to this. I think someone who used to work security even made a video about it on YouTube. You could find it. But let me know if you've heard about the NoHo 14 curse, or if you've heard anyone else's experiences while living there. Stay haunted and stay weird, North Hollywood.
Not shitting you, this is the 7th time I've recorded this, and I've uploaded it 2 times and it doesn't exist. So maybe I'm not supposed to tell this story. I'm gonna try one more time. If this is not successful, we'll try another day. But as I've been saying in all my other videos, I have lived a very active life, paranormally active. And I grew up in a house with a mimic where several of my other family members also experienced that spirit. So I have maybe like 12 really good stories. But I mean, my grandma saw someone standing at the foot of her bed while she was sleeping. My mom had also experienced someone standing over her while she was trying to fall asleep but couldn't. My brother had seen a lot and heard a lot. I seen and heard a lot. My uncle had seen and heard things. Scratching under people's beds. I mean, whatever was in our house, we were constantly mistaking for either each other or it was a little demonic in nature. But I'm convinced this was a mimic. And the story I want to tell in particular is about a time where I was 16 and I was home alone, and it's very common in Black households for there to be an intergenerational setup in the house. So my uncle lived with us, my grandma, whoever else needed a place at the time, and my cousin, for the purposes and intents of this video, I'm going to call him my brother. But we lived downstairs together on either side of a hallway. Our house was on a hill, so the main living facilities, the living room, the kitchen, my grandma's room, all of the adults were upstairs. And you go downstairs and there is a hallway. On either side is his room and my room, and right in the center of the hallway, equidistant, is a back door. So this one particular night I'm home alone, and it was very rare for me to be home alone. I was on the phone with my friend and we had just gotten a puppy. This night, the dog seemed like she really wanted to pee, and I was on the phone with my friend, and I told my friend, hey, I'll call you back in a little bit. My dog needs to go outside. So I walked the dog outside, and just to describe things a little bit, because it's important to understand, there is a wooden patio on, and I'm coming up on the end of this video, so unfortunately there's gonna have to be a part 2. Okay, so I talked for like 3 minutes without recording anything. I'm exhausted. But part 2, I went outside to take the dog on a pee break, and
in the backyard. It's as soon as you step out, there's a wooden patio. There's 5 feet of patio in front of me, 5 feet of patio beside me, and outside of that radius is just grass. It's dark. Our backlight pretty much only lit up what was on the wood. So if you were outside of the wooden patio, you were in the dark. There was a lot of trees and bushes to hide in if anyone was interested, and I don't know. And after that, we had out at the perimeter of the backyard was the alley, and as I said, anybody could be hiding in the bushes, anything, coyotes. Because if you're in the alley, you could just scale the back gate and come right into the house. So I was standing on the edge of the patio to ensure that my puppy was okay, so she didn't get got by whatever was in the darkness. And suddenly I noticed that she's looking to the left of her, and I hear at the top of the house the wooden back gate open up on the side of the house, and I hear my brother jumping down several wooden stairs. Now, the wooden stairs at the side of the house are there's about 20 of them. So, and I'm stuttering now because I'm really irritated because I told the story like 7 times, but there's 20 stairs and he's 14, so he's jumping down about every other stair, every third stair. So you hear like 7 dunk 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 dunk. And that's how I always knew it was him, because he never ever walked up the stairs. He jumped up and he jumped down. So I hear him jumping down the stairs and running through the grass. I hear him and feel him run onto the wooden patio that I'm standing on, and I feel the wood depress with his footsteps. So I turn around and I'm like, hey, what are you doing sneaking out at night? You're doing bad shit, and only I can do bad shit. What are you doing bad shit? I just wanted to fight, okay? I turned around and I wanted to argue with him because all we did was fight. And there was no one there. So I look back at the dog, and she's stiff. She's not moving. Her tail is straight down, as if she wanted it to be between her legs, but she didn't get the chance to put it between her legs. And I look back to my left, and I'm convinced that he's hiding, because I know I'm not alone. I feel that I'm not by myself. So I start walking into the grass, and I'm looking around into the bushes, and I'm calling out, so-and-so, where are you? Come out of the bushes and stop playing with me. Part 3. Okay, part 3, I'm sorry. Part 3. We made it. Okay, we made it. We're here. I'm standing in the backyard. I swear my brother is messing with me. I'm looking in the bushes. So-and-so, where are you at? I feel that I am not alone. So I look back at the dog in confusion, and she's still stiff. Suddenly it hits me. That little voice in my head says, go inside. Didn't have to tell me twice. I grabbed that dog so fast, I ran into the house, turned around, slammed the back door, ran down the hallway, went in my room, slammed that door. I'm in the bed. I got the dog on the bed with me. I pick up the phone. I FaceTime my friend, and I'm like, you are never going to believe what is happening right now, or what had just happened. And I noticed that Scrappy, the dog, is starting to act up a little weird. So I avert my attention from my phone, and I look at the dog, and she's standing on the edge of the bed. She's walking around the perimeter, every corner of the bed, walking around the perimeter, looking at the ground, and suddenly she's growling. She's still looking, following something on the floor, as if something's on the ground that she's following, but she won't get down. And then all of a sudden she darts up. She's looking at the ceiling. That way. She's screaming her little dog head off. She's barking everywhere, and her eyes are following something. She is barking at something all over the place, running back and forth on the bed, barking at everything. And I'm horrified. I'm on the phone with my friend. I'm like, whoa, hold on, friend. I don't know what's going on right now. My friend is like, hello? I'm like, look, I'm gonna call you back. I'm scared. I grab that dog, run in the bathroom. I lock myself in there until my family comes home. And now, I used to lie when I was a kid. And when my family came home, they believed me. because there were things in the house that they themselves had experienced already that made my story like not far-fetched. I don't know what it was that night, but ever since then, from that night on, the goings on in the house got so bad that we actually started to think that it was a demon in the house. And I can tell you why in another story. But yeah, that mimic was imitating everybody in the house. My grandma, we could hear her calling our names and banging on the wall in a particular way that only she would bang on the wall when she would try to call us for help if she needed anything upstairs. We were hearing each other's voices, all kinds of stuff. Okay? Let me know if you want to hear those stories too.
Crazy stories, right? These encounters show you one thing, that not all souls leave in peace. And sometimes they linger in shadows just waiting to be noticed. But the real question is, what do you think? Do you think that these spirits are just echoes from the past, or do you think that their spirits are tied to something much darker and sinister? And of course, if you have a spooky story of your own, make sure that you go ahead and submit it to the mysticmusecreations@gmail.com. Of course, y'all should know the email by now. That way I can go ahead and share your story on the next episode for Mystic Monday. I'm already filled up for the month of September and halfway through October. So if you want your spooky story to be possibly featured around Halloween, go ahead and submit it. And make sure that you join the channel as a member, because I do have some members only videos that I've posted already for certain rituals and other Q&As that you guys have asked about. So I've made some reels and different things for you guys over there. But I'll see you guys on that side of the hood. But all right, my haunted hotties and hunks, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So y'all make sure that you drink your water, mind your business, and stay prayed up and protected. And as always, Luna loves you. I'll be back with another video for you guys if the spirits allow it. You thought I was done? Psych your life. No, I'm just playing. No, but for real, don't forget, for the rest of September, I am still doing 50% off in my shop. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and take advantage of the sales that are going on right now, because a lot of you have said and expressed in the comments that you want to support the kid, but you don't have the funds. But right now, I decided to go ahead and do a huge sale because you guys, one, pushed me to 10Ks, a big goal I was really pushing for, and two, because it's just my way of saying thank you. And I want you guys to enjoy the products that I have. And I don't want money to be a factor of you not being able to enjoy some of the great things that I have. So make sure that you take advantage right now. Luna loves you.